Alright, this is Stenanema Rangers, and this is major reconstruction area. It's July 2012. I am in central Ontario, and I'm not gonna disclose the name of the stream or anything like that because I'm trying to protect this stream. This is a different area of this stream. Upstream, where I've fished all of my life and camped since I was 7 years old, is being overrun by the population. The fish populations are being killed. The brook trout are suffering very badly. The stream is a very cold water, spring-fed stream that has been running at a fairly warm temperature like most. Anyway, that's been in around 54 to 58 degrees. Which is not as cold as I would like. So anyway, this is what we've done. We found a new camping area where there's no people, where we can do some serious good. Anyway, what you're looking at here is basically what the whole thing has looked like. The whole upper section. Unfortunately, being the artistic type of person, I just see something, I get in there and I just have a grand time doing it and then go, shit, I should have photographed it before I started. Too late. Anyway, I got a few photos, but nothing like a video or anything. Anyway, what we've done is downstream from here, there is a natural log jam that has been developing over the years, and it's so bad that you have to be really brave to want to cross it. It's pretty hairy, swampy, ugly, ugh. Anyway, that's way down there. Yeah, there it is right there. Now what we've done to protect the fish is make it even more difficult. You can see that everything we've cleared out of the stream, we have put in the stream. And it is going to keep working its way down, down, down. And every year, we'll put more in and pack it up. Reason why is it deters people from coming up. That protects the fish from fishermen that will catch and keep the fish. So you really gotta wanna get here. So anyway, this is all very, very extremely shallow. It's ankle deep at best the whole way down. If you look below me, this was ankle deep. And just by putting in this, it's changed that depth that much. Anyway, this is what we're doing, and this is why we're doing it. The water system here is incredibly healthy. The water quality is incredibly good. I'm going to start with this first pool. I have named this pool Daddy's Pool, that being me. This is a pool that will be here probably forever, and hopefully my son will bring his children here, and I'll come here when I'm an old man. But anyway, why this is called Daddy's Pool? Very simple. A book called Tactics on Trout by Ray Ovington in 1969 was one of the first fly fishing trout books I ever got. And although his sketches were crude in some places, they were absolutely beautiful in others. He had a tributary pool drawing, and he had a drawing of a ledge pool. And those two pools are three of the ones in that book that I've dreamed of bumping into. Never found them. I had the opportunity here to create both. We're going to start here at this rock that is now going to be called Daddy's Rock. This rock, if you look, came from that spot. The three of us with French bars and crowbars, the two boys, Ben and Jeremy, who are both 12 years old, we have flipped this rock over from there. I placed it on top of rocks, and if you look closely, you'll see that there's water coming out from underneath. The whole thing is supported by several rocks, allowing current flow from every direction. We always build little temporaries or permanents like this. What that is that's to flow off and keep the debris and the silt at a level control. It's my personal belief that a stream should vacuum itself clean, and it shouldn't need any help. Of course, when you let things go and nobody does anything with things, it gets pretty bad and it needs help. So this is Daddy's Pool. There's already brook trout in here. Now, what we've done is there's a tributary here with very fresh, clean water that's spring fed up on the other side of the road. Had a few blocks in it. We opened it up. This whole thing, if you look right here at that spot, that's what it was like with a couple dribbles. There was cedar trees and all kinds of deads all covering it. So what we did is we got in there and we cut it all open. And there's brook trout up there. Small. I think the biggest one's like 6 inches, but you got to understand that that's only about 18 inches wide. And anyway, we have a little waterfall there coming out. And we have a shoe for depth, speed, water control, because we're on a really good grade. The average is probably about 6 degrees, but it goes up to 15 degrees in a lot of places. So we've ended up building a whole bunch of series of step pools, which I love, and they provide so many little tiny nook and cranny homes for small brook trout. Small brook trout reproduce and make big brook trout. And without them in the ecosystem, it's out of balance. And if somebody doesn't do something for it, there's not going to be anything left. And I'm not going to let that happen. So we decided that because we can't beat the public, I sure as hell ain't joining them. So we've gone to another area. We've made this as difficult as possible to get into. We've set up a campsite. And one of the main goals was to open up all the springs and all the tributaries. The water now is running at about 46 to 48 degrees, depending on what day it is, and how sunny it is and how hot it is. But this is middle July, I think we're around the 20th. And like I said, I'm standing in water that's darn cold. So anyway, Daddy's pool here is almost up to my waist in a couple spots, and you can see we got the current coming in to pull out the cold water. And we'll go through this series of steps. Coming up, there's something I'll point out. This property used to be owned by a trout club that was bought. They bought the property, huge lot of property in the 1940s. Some men that were lawyers, doctors, etc., so forth. They had a lot of money, and they were all fly fishermen. So they did an entire reconstruction of almost 10 miles and planted stock brook trout, or not brook trout, but rainbows and browns. So, from up at the falls forward, it was only, which is away from here, it was only brook trout. From the falls down, it had brook trout, rainbow, and brown trout because of those gentlemen. What you're seeing here is one of the mistakes that a lot of people make. If you look over here, you'll see these chain link fence with blocks of rocks. Those were built by the Trout Club. Here's a classic example of why we think we're doing the right thing, but in the future, when we look at it, are we really doing the right thing? My motto is, follow the water. Whatever it tells you to do is what you do. Don't try and tell it what to do, because you want to see something in particular. If you look right here, this is all white rock. The reason it's white is because it was cemented in. They did that right here in the middle. I remember when I was about 10 years old. It was a big caged-in thing to divide up and make up the stream the way they saw it fit to create this corner pool. The only thing is, take a close look at the trees. Look at the bank. Erosion. Huge erosion. So we broke this down. There's still a few pieces. If you look right there, you'll see some of the chain link fencing down in there that's still cemented in. We can't get it out. So we've worked with it, we've broken it up, we've taken out some of the rocks, made a whole series of midstream rocks, riffles, everything that takes you all the way down. One of the things that I've done, and I'm going to let the winter form it much better, to help these trees stay. I don't know how much longer, but anything you can do to help, helps. What we've done is I've created a hook riffle, and I've captured the majority of the water and pulled it away from this tree and this tree, which this tree is pretty settled because it's up high and it's on a boulder plateau. As you can see, these cedars are killed. You know, they're over flooded with water, and the bank erosion is huge. So what we've done here is, you can see it feathers. It takes some of the pressure off of the tree. As the season goes this year, I'm going to work that out so that there's barely a light line riffle coming in. That way the pool is still working and still functioning, but there's not as much physical pressure on that tree. Because, you know, these trees provide habitat for absolutely everything, and they create shade for the trout. So it's a shame to lose that. So anyway, what we've done here is this, again, was all very, very shallow. And following what my son said about how we named ourselves Stenanema Rangers is, Dad, we're saving the world one Stenanema at a time. The other one is our philosophy and motto is when we design something or build something, that we follow the word of the frog. The frog says, knee deep, knee deep. So we try and make everything at least knee deep or better. Now, this is the first part of a construction. The winter is going to change a lot of it. And what's going to happen is in the springtime, we're going to go and look at what the water has said it should be. We built everything around the physics of the water. So the water is doing exactly what it should. What will happen is some of these barriers will get broken down with ice flow out. That's not a problem. My philosophy is I put it where I best believe it's suited to be, and God and physics will make it what it should be. It'll make the magic. So anyway, this is now this whole run right here, which was ankle deep, just like way up there. This was all ankle deep. It was on a steep slope. So we built this shoe and fallout, so we're developing a lot of oxygen into the water and creating depth and control over the hay stacking and the fast ripples and runs. Because when we first got here, other than this little pool up here, which is really a run, it was just like this, mostly dead, not moving water or extremely fast moving, uninhabitable water. So you can see where the faster that we've worked, because the rocks are all white. We're trying to keep the bottom as dark as possible, and after construction I go way upstream with a kayak paddle, and I go all along all the banks and pull out all the debris that's been sitting for years in silt and blast it out and let it go down and fill in all the nooks and crannies. So anyway, yeah, this is the tail out of this giant run, it was already, before doing anything, it was already at my waist in depth. I would say the average width, well, this is the widest point, and I would say she's probably about 25 feet across in an estimation. You can see it's beautiful, crystal clear. The trout just love this place, and we love being here and having them. So far, this is the second week that we've been up here camping for a whole week. And we have transplanted 28 brook trout into here. And I'm hoping that by the end of this week, we'll probably put another 20 or 30 more in. And then when we come back in August, we'll take some more and bring some more in, away from the areas where the general public is. We're not taking all of them, but we're taking enough to help resustain and rebuild the population of trout. By making this an area that has depth, water control, all the right oxygen, the food sourcing, and the natural springs all working together, this creates a super environment for trout, for the aquatic insects. Everything has a perfect little home here. And by having all these natural springs available and opening them up, what we're doing is we're creating an environment that is just perfect for everything. What'll happen is because that cold temperature is going to go downstream, fish will start moving upstream. Because as the water warms, they're going to look for better water. So where they go? Our place. Which is great, because the fish are protected from general public by making, i.e. the access extremely hard. This is pretty much undone. I haven't done anything with that other than build up a little bit of a border to get the main flow out here. Yeah, it's really about making this unaccessible to people so that the trout have a chance to reproduce properly, and they will distribute themselves throughout the stream, because they can get through the log jam that's up ahead and the one down there. So I have no problem with knowing that the fish will always be here, particularly if I up the numbers. I'm always a sucker for a midstream rock, or several midstream rocks. So anyway, you can see up there, this is where it all started, was up here, because our little camping area is in there. And just 2 days ago, these rocks were white as white could be, because this is all limestone. It's a freestone limestone stream, which is kind of nice. So anyway, you know, we've utilized what we can to make what we can for now, and like I said, it'll keep changing, and that's okay. And we'll keep improving it and adding more to it and making it better year after year. But this is, I love this spot. This is where it all started, was this boulder right here. And because that's where, it was only, gosh, 8 inches deep behind that boulder and around it. So now we kind of got our own waterfall and our own stepping waterfall. Oh, my feet are getting cold. We don't wear waders in the summer. There's no point. So anyway, now this is way past my knees. This was our fridge that Ben dug out for us. And yeah, this is where we actually release all the brook trout. Is right here where it all started, on this side of the boulder. This was all dead water, silt everywhere. This boulder was up in front there. It was just nasty looking. You know, the whole thing was just like this. Really shallow, didn't offer anything to anything. So anyway, that's where it started, so that's where we released them. This stretch has one of the most incredible pools I think I've ever seen in my life up ahead. We'll get to that one. Anyway, this is a beautiful little area, but you know, it's still, that's right there is untouched. So that you're seeing exactly what it looked like versus what it now looks like and the opportunities that are here. Most of this wood, like this log right here, we actually placed this. It was here, but we swung it out to utilize it for many reasons, mostly for cover. But if it's not supposed to be there in the springtime, it won't be there. It'll be over here again. We've made sure enough of it is into the bush so that it will just pivot. Anyway, all this is this spot right here in this corner. This is way past my knees. All of this stuff is right at my knee level, almost everywhere. Every time I cast, I catch a fish in there. Every single time. Every time I cast, I catch a fish in there. Every single time. We have a policy too that once we put fish in, we educate them. How do you educate a fish? You show them a hook over and over and over again. And you catch them and you release them. And you catch them and you release them. Carefully and not with a barbless hook. Why? If you release them carefully, it doesn't do any damage. If you educate the fish to question what they're seeing, they've become one-hit wonders. Every fish in here will only hit once. I don't even care if it's a worm that you put in there. One-hit wonder. They will not bite twice. If they think it's fake or feel any tension, they're gone. Ben went in this pool, swimming, and it's up to his armpits. He's 5'4", so that's pretty nice. In here, I know for sure, because I've caught and landed them, there's a beautiful 16-inch rainbow, just gorgeous native. We've got a beautiful 14-inch brown. I have 6 or 7 brookies in there that run from about 8 to 12 inches that are really husky and heavy. So there's a lot of fish in here. I know they're all here because every once in a while I can get them to rise to a fly, and I can watch in the evening and the morning. I can watch them rise. So anyway, we cut this log out because it was the only thing making this pool into a disaster zone. So what we did is I cut out this piece here. You can see the limb over there and over here. We cut that out. I trimmed off all one side and I put it over here to make habitat. But the reason why is because this, as you can see, is collecting stuff. It's collecting sticks. It's collecting silt. I would still like to improve that and get some of that silt out of there, because when stuff sits, any kind of toxin eventually, you know, settles in and gets buried. And when it does that, it seeps. You might as well just get it out of there, and get it under control. So anyway, here's the front of the pool. It's got a beautiful ledge leading in, so I'm good. I can only imagine that fishing, you know, the Stenonema group, you know, any of the clingers and ephemerellas in this stretch is just going to be phenomenal in the springtime. We always try to use what's there and what's already functioning and make it better. So we manipulate with some of the rocks, manipulate some of the current, manipulate it so we can get some depth. You know, this was inches deep, and now I'm past my knees. This is one of many that we're finding of springs coming right out of the earth. I made this flute from a piece of wood that fell, a piece of cedar that fell out off one of the trees at the campsite. And the boys are like, "What are you doing?" Because you can see the the annual rings, how it had split off. Well, I started carving it out, and they're going, "What are you making?" Well, what I was making is a water flute. Because now we can come up here and get perfect water. Oh my God, it's so good. There's absolutely zero flavor. Zero flavor. It's amazing. I don't even like drinking water, but that's awesome. So anyway, you know, we broke out all the crap and silt, and took out some rocks and built a fluting to get the water out for us anyway, and it goes into the water. But I saw a change when I did that. What ended up happening is that the fish were really loving it, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, we got a whole bunch of them. So what did I do? I came up here and opened up 2 more springs. Perfectly clean, righteously temperatured, 53-degree water. Or actually colder, I'm not sure. But, you know, hey, I've been told that 3 feet down is 53 degrees for the geothermal programs. So anyway, but what we did here is that this had some logs. You can see the one cutting. Had a whole bunch of logs and shit in the way that was really making a silt mess and a collection of just garbage. But naturally, this rock flow right here that you see, or formation, was there. There's cavities and culverts underneath. And it was turning this way, but it was all jammed and dead. So what I did was utilize the springs, utilize this, opened this up, took half the current this way, and left the other half doing this. I built a barrier divider that's protected by the boulder, so in the wintertime that shouldn't move very much. And you can see that there's a perfect S-bend. And what that's doing is that's taking, it's coming in, it's vacuuming, it's grabbing that cold water, pulling it up to the center of the stream and forcing it right to the bottom of that pool. And then that just keeps going down. And this is my waist deep or better. I think there was one spot in there where I stepped right around there when I was cutting up the log that it was better than my waist deep. So anyway, yeah, we got 1, 2, 3 springs right in this area, and I found another one over here. So I opened this one up, I cleaned out some of the sediment and debris, and I made a flusher. And what I'm doing is I'm forcing a portion of the current over to pick up that cold water and bring it along the bank to keep the bank clean. There's a nice 14-inch rainbow sitting in here too, and lots of nice brookies, but don't tell anybody. So anyway, this is upstream of the area where we're not going to go much further because there's several stream splits, and there's another tributary that comes in, this spring fed, that comes up over that way from the